Welcome, friends, to this special Rosh Hashanah edition of More Bad News, brought to you as always by Camel Cigarettes. Take the Camels Challenge, smoke Camels for 30 days, and see for yourself what a difference Camels can make in your life. Well, my friends, it's the second day of Rosh Hashanah. I'm taking a break from the Tefillot to record a Rosh Hashanah message um, for you for this round. Just seemed appropriate. So I'm here. I'm wearing my death shroud. That's what this is. I'm going to be buried in this. You want to get everything ready for your burial. So, and this too. This is my talus. I will be buried here. They will remove one of these. So because when you're dead, you can no longer fulfill the mitzvah of actually wearing a talus. So it's symbolic. I don't know. They take off one of them. Somebody can have it as a use it as a bookmark. I don't know. Anyway, but you want to get ready for your burial. Today is the Day of Judgment. We blow the shofar, and we have now 10 days between the New Year and Yom Kippur. The Book of Life is opened, your destiny is written down, and then 10 days later on Yom Kippur, it's all sealed. It's a strange way to start the new year. It's kind of very heavy, introspective, and really laden with, let's examine our our character, our surrounding, our environment, our government, how are we doing in the world? And you know, uh, it it's extraordinary to me to be observing synagogues via the computer. So being able to peek into the Jacksonville, New York Central Synagogue in New York, Abbas Israel, my synagogue in Grand Rapids, um, and uh, to see the differences in in Jacksonville. Rabbi Lewin referenced Gaza and in talking about Abraham and Yitzchak and Ishmael. Uh, he treads very lightly on it, but he wants to speak it out at least a little bit. Rabbi Buchdal, Angela Buchdal from the Central Synagogue, gave her first night Rosh Hashanah sermon entirely on Gaza and the state of the world, and prefaced it by saying that she felt she was afraid that after she speaks tonight, many people will no longer consider her their rabbi. That's how divisive everything has become. But she really had to speak about Gaza, about the starvation, about the need to recognize Yishmael, because on the first day we read the Abraham, Isaac, and Yishmael, and the sending out of Ishmael and God's blessing Ishmael. So it's an appropriate time to speak of that. Um, and uh, for me, it's I'm also reading Dialogue with Death, and really identifying with this idea that you are trapped, imprisoned, you have been condemned by a court martial that not only were you not privileged to uh, appear at the court martial, you weren't even informed of the verdict of the judges, of the judgment against you, which seems really appropriate. Here we are. We haven't even been apprised of the verdict of the judgment that is against us. But you ought to know, and Kessler was in this prison in which prisoners were being taken out almost every night and shot. He was trying to stuff his ears. It was terrible, really hard to live with this. He was counting the buttons on his shirt. Reprieved, dead, reprieved. And he would get crazy about it. You know, you're living with the knowledge that you cannot uh, communicate with the outside world. You can't really reach out and explain to anybody what is happening to you inside this prison. And you don't know what's going on outside. His wife was frantically working to get him freed, and it would succeed. She inevitably he would be freed from prison after 3 months, and then wrote Dialogue with Death in 2 months after he got out. He went to right to work on it, and we are living at a time when catastrophic events are happening all the time. And there is a kind of numbness, uh, holding on to, uh, you don't want to admit that the pandemic is still going on, even though right now, according to everything that we can predict out of this, over 1 million new cases of COVID per day are occurring in the United States. Our government is insane. The news is brutal. It's only one way. It's brutal. The assault on sacred traditions is brutal. The suffering around us is absolutely brutal. The condition of our healthcare system is insane. We have a government that's assiduously working to undermine our health. And you would think that when you poke your head into synagogues around the United States, that you'd see that reflected in a recognition of the terrifying reality that we have in front of us. And instead, it's basically business as usual, pretty much. The institutions that are fundamental to our well-being in this society are all being dismantled, and in general, the response is extremely passive. So here we are in the new year, and 5786. There aren't very many new years left to us. I would recommend being very careful about breathing the air around you. I would be very careful about associating with vectors of disease, to stay away from vectors of disease as much as possible. That includes the air, that includes the insects, that includes, in the South there's this fungus that's a microscopic fungus, and it's incurable. It'll kill you. You get into your lungs. Try to avoid that, right? All of the news of our planet with regard to disease is extremely concerning and negative. So you want to take as much care as you can, because if you do get sick, you're going to have to be careful and wary that the healthcare system itself may end up killing you. I know I am concerned if I would need to be hospitalized for any reason. It would be the equivalent for me of a sentence of death. Nobody's masking you. You're bound to get COVID, and it's just. In fact, we contracted COVID almost certainly from a healthcare facility, because there's no place else that we went really and sat in a room with other people who could transmit the disease and we're passively around even with our mask on, which is obviously the mask reduces risk but does not eliminate it. Risk in this coming year, 5786, is going to exponentially increase. So you need to brace yourself. Um, Stay healthy. Uh, Try. You've got to be strong. I mean, you've got to avoid anxiety, depression, uh, and you need to be able to exercise and sleep and whatever. It can get to you. And I would prefer to be conscious and to watch things unfold. As dreadful as they are, it's I'm glad to be here and to be able to observe and to have a very small audience. So I wish you all well for the new year. Stay safe, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks with more bad news.